Very excited to have Claudia Schmidt here. You know, I don't normally go to concerts. I go to maybe some classical. I used to go to a lot of rock concerts when I was a kid. Well, not a lot, but some. But I really had a lot of fun going to the Vanilla Bean Cafe a while back. And I just felt it was like a love fest. I felt everyone there was just loving each other. I felt so good to be alive. It was just a wonderful experience. And so I'm so happy to bring you on tonight. Claudia, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, well, welcome to the world of folk music.
Oh my God, it's a gorgeous world. Of course, not only are you an amazing singer, but you're a songwriter too, which is a whole other world. And interview composers and songwriters. I want to start from the very beginning when you were tiny, a long time ago, well, not that long ago, but when you were a little girl, what
Yeah.
what was your exposure to music? I mean, were you from a musical family to start with? Or tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I had a natural affinity for singing from the get-go, as I understand it. My
Hmm.
parents loved to sing, nothing official or anything, but that was a time of life when, you still rode in the car together and sang songs and you weren't on your devices
Yeah,
doing things.
right.
And I was in my first choir when I was the youngest member ever of the cherub choir. I was barely 5 years old in my hometown,
Mm.
and after that, in every possible choir I could be in, until such time as I left that town with other things in between, because that was the main outlet for singing in my town. So
Yeah,
wherever I could, I did.
at 5 years old.
Yeah.
Wow. And did you have singing lessons at that point in your life, or
I never had any lessons. I'm
you're
I'm
kidding me?
completely self-taught.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm I,
So,
I'm I never was paper trained.
okay. And then so tell me about that. You were five, and then how did things progress over time as you got older? What'd you do? What was your progression to where you are today?
With the music, well, like I say, singing in choirs, and there was a little bit of music theater, not much in high school. I got my first guitar when I was about 15, 16.
Ah, uh-huh.
And my older brother he was kind of in the what Utah Phillips called the folk scare, of the 60s, and with Peter, Paul and Mary, and that whole thing. And so because I played by ear, I was picking stuff up from hearing him, and I immediately started writing songs because I had always written poetry,
Ah,
and so it was a matter of just having this new vehicle to put the words
hmm.
to. And so without even thinking about it, I sort of began writing songs.
And this is once you started on guitar, or even
Yeah,
before? Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And kind of found my way, from watching my brother with basic chords, but I was always a little bit of an explorer on the guitar. In fact,
Hmm.
sometimes when I listen back to some of my older songs, I don't even know what the hell I was doing. I can't even figure out what I was playing. It was there were there were no constrictions.
I love it. That's great.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, let's do a look back to 1982. You're on KTCA Channel 2, and I'm just going to set this up and share the screen with you in a second. So
And I
this
and
is,
I'll say a quick thing about that if I
yeah,
can.
please tell us. Sure.
So I grew up in this small town in Michigan, but I was only about, 35 miles from Detroit.
Hmm.
So even though I was not exposed directly to music, I was listening to a lot of blues and Motown, and so that got into my head really early before I ever started to be a full-time musician of any sort. That stuff
Yeah.
was all going into the hopper. When I listen to myself sing it now, I have a lot more life behind me to put into the song. And this is me as a younger woman singing my heart out.
Well, I got to tell you too, it's absolutely gorgeous. You have a beautiful voice. You probably be compared to every wonderful singer out there, and
Yeah.
it's just love it. So this is you singing Stairs.
I spent about 8 years of my childhood in a big old house in a small town in Michigan. There was a staircase in that house I spent a lot of time on and around. And when the house burned down several years after I moved out, that stairway seemed to live on and find its way into this next song. Creaking and groaning, sometimes almost moaning, carrying us all up and down. Hands and knees, won't you stand up, please? Hang on tight so you don't fall down. Wooden skin is worn from wear, bruised and scarred most everywhere. The years are flowing and my steps are slowing, but I still got a few trips on these stairs. Well, sometimes I take them on my feet, and sometimes I take them on my seat, and once or twice I tried it upside down. Tumbling, bumbling, pell-melling, arms all in a whirl, everyone come running at the sound. Then Daddy carried me to Betty Bye, carry me away toward the sky, carry me up and down more times than I can count. Gonna carry me to heaven when I die. Up on the landing, small, but I was standing, making faces at the moon and wailing. Up and down in anger, up and down in song. Over my wooden friends I'd go sailing. They tell the house when I am blue, they tell when I don't want them to. Well, it's up and down those stairs till it stares up and down as my shoulders surely rise above the railing. Wooden skin is worn from wear, bruised and scarred most everywhere. The years are flowing and my steps are slowing, but I still got a few trips on these stairs. Well, the years flow past and the time comes at last to find the life that's waiting just for me. Climbing and falling, walking down slow, and life turns stones under which I long to see. The house calls out for a family, fill it up just like some big oak tree. My children look a lot like me, my grandkids a little less, and the stairs they tell their daily tales to me. I sleep downstairs 'cause it's cold now. My kids say it's 'cause I'm old now. Well, that's true, but it's not the only reason. My wooden messengers stand as they always have, carrying young to old through the growing season. Now me, I've been done growing for a long, long time, except for all these things going through my mind. But someday, if I have a mind and my kids will help me make the climb, I'll wail at the moon again if I find it pleasing. 'Cause I ain't coming down once I go back up. Our wooden skin is worn from wear, bruised and scarred most everywhere. The years are flowing and my steps are slowing, but I still got a few trips on these stairs. Ooh.
Wow.
It really took me because that line about my dad, yesterday was the third anniversary of my dad's death. So it
Oh
really
my
like,
God.
oh. And then when she looked right at me in the song, that was so cool. It was something.
Talking to you.
He was talking to me.
I got to tell you, that is just amazing. And I want to ask you, it's one thing to be in a chorus, but to actually sing solo, that's a different thing. How did you break through on that? I mean, I am
Yeah.
so much in admiration of people that can sing solo in front of a crowd. How did you break through and get that to get comfortable with that?
Well, I always
Oh,
was kind of a ham. I mean, along with singing in choirs, I never minded having solos.
yeah.
And and when I started to perform as a solo artist, my first guitar was a six string, but then you saw that I was playing a 12 string guitar, and I moved to the 12 string, and I never looked back. And I really feel in a way like playing the 12 string was almost like my choir sublimation, for being on the stage by myself, because of all the fullness, all the overtones. There's so much going on with it,
Yeah.
that it sounded kind of homey to me.
Hmm.
And I think that might have something to do with it. But jumping from a choir, because I had done a lot of soloing, and
In the choir. Ah,
yeah,
okay. Yeah,
and
yeah,
yeah, that was never an issue. Yeah,
yeah.
I used to get the descants and things like that.
I love it. Well, I forgot to read as an introduction. I want to read this wonderful bit of this wonderful review. I think it says so much about you. Here's what they said. To say that Schmidt is simply a performer with a talent to entertain would be a miscarriage of understatement. Schmidt takes her audiences into her world as easily as the child who discovers the endless universes that exist in a cardboard box. Schmidt weaves her way through our concert in much the same manner as a gesture, interwoven anecdotes revealing her past and present, bring people to the expected relationship between themselves and memories driven deep within the passage of time. The concert is an endless display of self realization through humor and longing, leaving audience members yearning to become an integral part of her world. Having performed on stages across the country, Schmidt has developed the ability to remain fresh. She enjoys her talent to entertain as much as the audience enjoys being entertained. It says it so well. I couldn't say that anywhere near as well as that. That's just wonderful. And and again, I was so blown away by the Vanilla Bean Cafe that day. So it's a real privilege to have you here tonight. The next thing we're going to talk about is Miss Eulalia Thomas. Do you want to talk a little bit about that before we play?
Sure. Yeah. There's a wonderful venue in Grand Rapids, Michigan called the Ladies Literary Club. And I think I mentioned that in the intro. And it's about the power of a photograph. And and so often, it's interesting to talk about this right now in Women's History Month. So often the women were not recognized. Uh,
Yeah.
and in this particular case, some of the women were recognized. And the thing was, the other women had names, but they were all their husbands' names, Mrs. Husband, Mrs.
Yes.
Husband. And
Yes. Right. Right.
so, so often, I've asked about pictures in libraries and things, and it was just, we don't know who that was, or they
Oh
were
my
just
gosh.
models. They were just models in the photo, that
Hmm.
kind of thing. And
Hmm.
so this is about the power of an image, and the name that was her name, Miss Eulalia Thomas,
Hmm.
just inspired me really
Yeah.
deeply, and it's a song I still love to sing.
I
Yeah.
love it. Yeah.
Miss Eulalia Thomas. Miss Eulalia Thomas, your face upon this wall, gazing outward upon us, you beckon and enthrall. How did you miss becoming a Mrs. Eulalia? You make me smile, have a style all your own. All your literary sisters cast away their names, only known as Mrs., Mr., Walter, Frank, and James. You stand alone, intact and unedited, Eulalia. You spark in me the heart that's free and alone, all alone. Were you wealthy? Were your heart is stealthy, beautiful without a doubt? All the others smile straight on. You come at me carefully, dreams in your eyes never quite caught, your chin so strong. Literary ladies, oh, you led them for a time. Were there lovers, children, critics, husbands in your prime? How did you fit, outfitted in mystery, ukulele? Oh, you let me know I'm free to grow as I will, and I will. Miss Eulalia Thomas, your face upon this wall. Miss Eulalia Thomas, you're smiling for us all.
Bravo. Bravo.
I love the visit the donation station. That was during COVID, of course, when we were all
Oh,
doing concerts from various places in our homes.
I was wondering. By the way, you're getting some great chat messages. Bob K says, not sure where we first saw Claudia, but it may have been Charlotte's Web in Rockford back in the
Oh,
70s or early 80s.
that was my first paying gig I ever had in Chicago.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
yeah,
Oh,
it
wow.
was. Yeah.
And Linda says, thank you. I'll miss Claudia when she's in Twin Cities in April. So I'm thankful for this opportunity to hear it tonight. Great. Yeah. You know what I love about your poetry too? I mean, the words are really wonderful. I mean, so many songs we hear today just don't stand up to this at all. And I just love the true poetic nature of what you put together,
Thank
especially the
you.
1982 song I forgot to mention. I just love all the poetry in that, just the beautiful allusions to things and metaphors or whatever,
Yeah.
and the way you transport us into your life through the years back
Hmm.
then and with the grandchildren. It's just very moving, very wonderful. So
Right. When I was only 30, I didn't have any grandchildren. I still
yeah.
don't.
Oh, okay. You can still work at it, Claudia. You got
Yeah,
some
that's
time left.
right.
Okay, so this next one we were going to do is Wings of Wonder. You want to talk a little bit about that before we
Oh,
close?
yes. This is going to be a funny thing I know a couple of my Beaver Island pals are listening. It's a song that I wrote back in I think I first wrote it in the 70s, actually. And it
Mm,
kind of went away for a while, like some songs do. I can't explain it. It's like it's not quite their time yet. And it's like a lumen recede thing. And I just kind
mm,
of let them go. And then this one came back and I learned it again. I started performing it. I ended up recording it, and it was one that wanted to be revisited on my recent record, reimagining one of the songs I picked to redo right now. So we wanted to do a video of it. And Mark, who's my husband, wonderful sound engineer and videographer, he was trying to grab onto images to what to put because the song it moves quickly and there's a lot going on in it. And
mm,
we happened to be on Beaver Island a couple of summers ago, and it was the historical week. The museum does a week of events, and the last event was the Native American group did a performance, a dance performance, an explanation of their dances, and they did it out at the lighthouse on the point.
mm,
They're doing a dance, and they invited some of the attendees to get up and dance with them. So some of the dancers were in their native costume, and it was this really hot day, and the
mm.
the sky was this like weird blue from the heat, and Mark just casually videotaped the whole thing. I mean, and so this is like years later, 3 years later, 4 years later, he sees this video, he thinks of Wings of Wonder, he put them together, and the dance was exactly the same length of time as Wings of Wonder.
Oh my
And
God.
and they just, it's like they belong together. Well, you'll see because the visual image, it's so, I mean, it looks like something we must have constructed, but it just happened in the moment exactly like you see it in the video.
Huh, that's pretty cool. And that's all done just by his intuition. That's pretty amazing.
Yes, he's very wonderfully intuitive that way.
Yeah.
Hop up on these wings of wonder, let us fly toward the sun. Deep as wells, high as mountains, we will know that all is one. Every creature winged and footed, every feature given free. There is no such thing as ugly when the heart can help the eyes see. Hop up on these wings of wonder, do not be afraid to fly. I have waited for this moment, do not hesitate to cry. Fear will only kill your longing, make you hope for less than hope. There is no such thing as fear when answering sweet mysteries call. Hop up on these wings of wonder while they linger, while they stay. They are strength and they are power, they are soaring night and day. Oh, such magic, they grow stronger with each soul who's seen and known. They will not collapse or wither, though some people think they're all gone. No, no, no. Wonder, there is room for everyone. Wonderstruck and full of power, we can fly when work is done. Free the hand that holds it back, just reach on out and take it in. To be known as well as knowing is to live, to learn again and again and again and again and again. Hop up on these wings of wonder. Hop up on these wings of wonder. Hop up on these wings of wonder. Hop up, hop up, hop up, hop up, hop up.
Oh my God. So they were not listening to your music. They were dancing to something completely different.
Yeah, you could see the drummers in the background, and
Exactly.
I get goosebumps. I get goosebumps when I see that still, especially when the guy with all the feathers shows up. You know, it's like, wow, you know.
The Wings of Wonder. I love
Yeah,
it.
I mean,
Love
it was a brilliant moment. What fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you've got some great fans here. Marty says, what a great opportunity to learn all about Claudia's wonderful career and see some outstanding performances. I've been a fan for 25 years.
Woohoo.
Yeah.
Where were you for the other 25?
Here's another one. Jill says, longtime fan here as well, says early 1980s, Madison, Wisconsin, Congregational Church concert, Claudia entering from the rear, down the center aisle, singing a cappella with such clarity and power. So that's great. That's great memories. That's wonderful. So now this next one, I think is also, could this also be Indian based? Because it says Black Crow. Is that an Indian based?
Well, it's not Indian based, but it was written while I lived on Beaver Island, actually.
Okay. Yeah.
And it was you know, writing for me often, I don't know, I think of it almost like a portal. It'll either be something I see or something that I hear, and that just opens something up. Like it can be just a word or a phrase, and that's what kind of gets the ball rolling with either the lyric or sometimes the cadence of what I hear sets up a rhythm for the instrument. And it was a bleak November time. It was another really depressing election, and I was like walking around just
Mhm.
bleakly, and it was that there was that image, there was that crow, and it just sort of set up the whole rest of the song, and the,
Yeah,
the idea of it being black set up the sort of color. It's like a little color wheel of despair.
yeah, yeah.
And the
Well,
funny thing is, originally, the song was written, we don't know why. And when I redid it with this wonderful young pianist that Mark introduced me to, Moreau Sprague, just a few years ago, I updated it to "We do know why." That was before people were openly talking about climate change, and
mm,
so it's one of those weird songs that's almost more timely now than it was when I first started singing it.
yeah. Now you have some interesting piano work here,
Mm,
little unorthodox and interesting. So,
yes.
did you do much of this kind of stuff, or that's just an
Yes,
experimental
every
thing?
opportunity I get, actually.
Yeah.
Moreau lives out in Los Angeles now, so I don't get to work with him much. But
Mm.
one of my whole recording projects was getting to work with him. Well, two recording projects actually with him is a big part of it. And
Oh, wow.
I love singing with the piano. I love that. And
Oh,
so,
great.
yeah.
So this is Crow.
Black crow crossing the slate sky. Black crow crossing the slate sky. Half the country's burning up, and we know why. Brown water covering our town. Muddy brown water covering our town. Yesterday was tender dry. Today we're about to drown. Forces way out beyond us are having a whirl, asking us to decide to belong to this world. See green, bring it to our door. See green, bring it right to our door. Take the poison in so deep, you wash the sickness up on shore. And red scare sneaking back round. Red scare sneaking back round. Hate is bound to snowball. You got to listen for the sound of white lies crossing a man's lips. White lies crossing a man's lips. Now he's supposed to win our trust. Oh, how far does he think we've slipped? I heard you say we're too smart to be in such a haze. Well, if it's so clear, why are we still here in this craze? And blue time don't linger too long. Blue time don't linger too long. Ooh, you got to get the madness out. Got to move to stay strong. Black crow crossing a slate sky. Black crow crossing a slate sky. Half the country's burning up, oh, and we know why. Yes, we know why. We know why.
know why. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Sure know why. Look at that black crow. Look at that black crow. He's crossing the slate sky, crossing the slate sky, and we know why.
Wow. Very nice. I love that piano player. Who was that again?
Oh, Miro, Miro Sprague is his last name. Wonderful composer himself. And I have to say that Mark kind of, as a birthday present, introduced me to Miro and kind of provided some recording time. And that was the first song I think we ever did together. Like
Wow.
we played through it. I just had a rough chart, and that probably was the second or third time we'd ever played it together. And yeah, so it was just amazing
Wow.
the way he locks into something, and he's such an incredible musician himself, but also listens so intently to a singer. Like he loves to accompany singers as well. It's
Oh
a
my
wonderful
God.
gift. Yeah.
And this is a different genre. Like you're doing jazz here,
Oh
right? This
yeah,
is
I do a lot of jazz, but yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That's wonderful. Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Got some
Yeah.
other nice comments here. Ann Emmerich said, huge fan, learned about you from
Yeah.
Mark Falstein, who is a great Chicago fan. Then Wonders of Wonders, you performed at my Mysteria House concert series here in Oakland.
Yes.
Such
Love
pure
that
joy.
series.
Such pure joy. That's
Mm-hmm.
wonderful. Okay, so the next thing we talk about is a long, long time. So let's hear a little bit about that one.
It kind of again in the sort of bluesy feel, and was really totally inspired by the Me Too movement when everything the first hit the fan, and
Yeah.
so much was up, and it was an exciting time. And it felt like maybe a healing crisis. Maybe we can. I was feeling very hopeful, and of course, we were all very naive because what we're feeling now is still backlash from that. In fact, a lot of the march of this Saturday, the Women's March is about that backlash, and Sally and I are doing a concert this weekend, and you can bet we'll be doing this song long, long time because I wrote it the morning after. I was on a long drive from Connecticut to North Dakota, and
Mm,
I wrote it the morning after I got there. I'd been listening to public radio all the way out, all the
mm.
stories, and I just felt very hopeful, and I still do. I mean, there's a lot because I mean, if it hadn't been so effective, there wouldn't be such a backlash now.
Right, right. Well, good for you. So this is a long, long time.
It took a long, long time to get a beat on the meanness. It took a long, long time to turn the gray into black. It took a long, long time to put a voice to the anger. It took a long, long time, but now there's no turning back. It was a long, long road to walk behind and be silent. It was a long, long road to carry all that pain. It was a long, long road, but now that journey is ending. It was a long, long road. Yeah, we'll never travel again. No, 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 no. It takes a long, long time to turn the shame into power. Ooh, it takes a long, long time for every voice to be heard. It takes a long, long time to break a system of violence. It takes a long, long time to put it all into words. We're all just trying to put it into words.
bridge for our daughters. It takes a long, long view to give a choice to our sons. Yes, it takes a long, long view to not forget what the choice was. It takes a long, long view to know the work's never done. Oh no, never, never, never done. It took a long, long time to raise our voices together. It took a long, long time, but now we walk hand in hand. It took a long, long time to break this terrible silence. It took a long, long time, yeah, to come to understand. We're all just trying to understand. It took a long, long time. It was a long, long road. It takes a long, long time. It takes a long, long view. It took a long, long time. It was a long, long road. It takes a long, long time. It takes a long, long view. Ooh, it took a long, long time. It was a long, long road. It takes a long, long time. It takes a long, long, long view. But together, I believe that we will see our way through.
Wow. Wow, that's great. Oh my God. And timely. Still timely. Oh my God. So when did you first record this? Back when?
Well, I recorded it. Let's see, when did Slow Steady Heart? Slow Steady Heart came out in 2020, just in time for the lockdown. So
Oh yeah.
that's when I had written it, in the year or so before that, probably, right? Yeah.
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 Well, speaking of the lockdown, this next one we're going to talk about is my quarantine prayer. So that's
Ah,
probably a good segue to talk about that. And we all have had our stories about COVID, of course. So it's nice that we've all sitting here surviving this now. So tell us a little bit about that.
yes. This song was really, some songs are almost like I describe it like a receivement. I don't sit down and think I'm going to write a song. It just came flowing out. And it was that Memorial Day weekend when of the George Floyd killing. And so all that emotion was in the air. And it was when all the anger started when the whole COVID thing started to really get politicized, and
Yeah. Yeah.
people were getting angry. The masks became a political thing. Everything became political, and there was so much anger suddenly, and people were getting abusive to help in restaurants. And I started hearing these horrible stories
Mm.
about that, and I just sat down with my dulcimer, and this song just came out because we had gotten that far, we'd come that far, and it felt like maybe, there might be a shift happening if everything hadn't gone sour at that point. We were at
Mm.
such an incredible point
Yeah.
in the COVID thing, and
Mhm.
so that's what the song is about. That's why I called it my quarantine prayer. And the interesting thing is we posted it on Facebook, and it got a huge response from
I
people.
bet.
I mean,
Yeah.
just just a reaching out. Again,
Mhm.
the sort of reclaiming compassion. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm waiting, yes, I'm waiting. There is nothing else to be done, but this waiting's a kind of doing. It's a way to help everyone. My little solitude's a way of joining the greater multitude of which I'm part. So I'll keep waiting until the way is clear to come together, heart to weary heart. I hear the anger, the deep suspicion. This is all just an evil plan. Our very freedoms in greatest peril if we heed such harsh demands. Well, how can we turn away from one another? So many suffering, sad, lonely end. If I can save one life by waiting, that's what I'll do for you, my troubled friend. Nothing like this in our lifetime, but many plagues have brought down strife, and always those who were the deniers, who only cared for their small life. Well, here's a chance to reach beyond selfish gain and rise up to humanity's call. And so I wait and weep and wonder at all the acts of strength and courage, great and small. The weeks are passing, still more are dying, so don't you tell me this is all a game. This is the moment to find compassion and remember we're all the same. Not a one of us that's not fragile. You could be next, and that is why I'll keep waiting until the way is clear to come together kindly. Please, let's try to come together kindly. Please, let's try.
Wow. I have to tell you that it's very moving to me. I personally suffered tremendously when I had COVID in March of 2020 when no one knew what to do. They literally sent me home with NyQuil. So, and
Oh,
I was in the hospital for 6 days and then in bed for 9 weeks and really thought I wasn't going to make it. So,
yeah, yeah.
and what I love about this song is not only is it musically very beautiful, but you talk about all the different aspects of it, the stuff that went on and people accusing each other of things and just some of the awful,
Yeah.
what I'm amazed at is that we within 3 days were able to figure out how to solve it. And of course, that's how advanced we are now in terms of genetics, and we could tell in 3 days how to fight this thing.
Yeah.
But even then, if you don't take a vaccine, your chances are not very good unless you.
Right.
I mean, I happen to be. I don't know what it is, but COVID loves me. I mean, I have a
COVID
type
loves
A.
me.
I'm
You should have a
type A.
shirt that says that, right?
Yeah, COVID loves
People
me.
will be running away from you, right?
Oh yeah. But what a moving piece. And I want to ask you musically, how you came up with those chord progressions and how do you think about it? Or do you not? Does it just like come through you like a
That
muse?
song really just wrote itself
Wow.
practically,
Wow. Because that is one
Yeah.
of my favorites. I really love it.
Yeah. And I had literally just written it. We went into the studio the next day
Oh
and
my God.
and
Wow.
recorded it because it was time. I had to kind of
Yeah.
get out
Yeah.
there. So yeah.
So
So
tell me, who
yeah.
were your favorite, who inspired you when you were younger, or maybe even today, who are your favorite songwriters of the ages?
Well, I think, of course, as a teenager in high school, when I heard Joni Mitchell's first record, because of the poetic nature of it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so that's certainly, I was already, like I say, I was already writing things. I was listening to the folk stuff that was going around, to Buffy St. Marie and Judy Collins
Mm.
and some of those writers,
Yeah.
Gordon Lightfoot, people like that.
Right.
I can't say that I had favorites so much as I was just trying to listen to a lot of different stuff, because I also
Yeah.
listened to, like I say, I grew up near Detroit. I was listening to kind of Motown, and
Yeah.
I loved listening to, my parents had an Antonio Carlos Jobim record, and I loved listening to that. And
Mm.
I loved listening to the crooners, some of those crooners. And so so those standards, I think that was where I sort of got and
Mhm.
started getting an ear for standards, for jazz, for that kind
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
structure. And a friend took me to see Ella Fitzgerald when I was still in high school. And
Oh,
that was a
wow.
that was a
Oh my
game
God.
changer. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had no idea, what I was in for, because I hadn't really heard her before. And then just
Yeah.
to get to see her live when she was still really in her prime.
Mm.
And and so the playfulness of her singing really got under my skin,
Yeah.
and I'm sure really contributed a lot to the way I sing, of being, I love being spontaneous with it. I love
Yeah.
improvising and changing
Cats,
it up,
whatever. Yeah.
and yeah, and
Now, when you absorb this music, did you do a lot of it by ear? Or did you also get a lot of sheet music in your systems, or how did
no,
you?
like I say, I didn't really read. So
Oh my God!
it
Wow.
was pretty much, I mean, I was just a sponge.
Yeah.
I do, I read some now because I work with other musicians, but I'm still not a really great reader.
Yeah. Now I know you're
And
not classically trained as a singer, and you have an amazing voice. But
mhm.
did you go to college for music or anything like that, or
No,
so you were
no,
completely
really the
self-taught?
instruments also, it's
Wow.
totally, yeah,
Wow.
I just went along. I just
Oh
made it
my
up
God.
as I went
You
along.
nailed it. You really nailed it. You own it. It's amazing. It's amazing. That's great. Okay. Now this next one's the title's kind of funny. Don't touch my face, tango. You want to tell us a
Ah.
little bit about that?
That's my other COVID hit, one of my COVID
Yeah.
hits. I have several. But it was at the very beginning of when, like you say, when you got sick and nobody knew anything yet, and we didn't
Yeah.
even know, we thought it was surfaces, we thought it was fomites.
Yes.
Nobody knew, and we were rightfully terrified.
I have 20
And
bottles of hand sanitizer still in my cabinet.
yes, I
Big,
think we
big,
all do.
big bottles. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and yeah, so that was that was Mark. I'm going to reach for him, and he said, "Don't touch my face." And it just I woke up in the night and wrote a poem, and I thought it was a poem, and in the morning I realized that I think this is a little tango, and so we went running over to the studio and did a recording of it that I put up on Facebook. But this is it's ended up being a really fun song to do in live performance.
Mhm.
And this one is from one of those performances where,
Yeah.
because people love singing along.
Very nice. Very nice.
I wrote a tango in my altered state. So here's a song about lust in the time of COVID. It's called the Don't Touch My Face Tango. You step into my room, my every molecule's on fire. You take me in your arms and I am molten with desire. Your clever hands commence their dance with mystic art and grace. Just don't touch my face. Come on! Don't touch my face. You've the power to melt my heart with just one longing look. You're 50 movies wrapped in one, you're better than the book. You whisper in my ear and I'm beyond all time and place. Just don't touch my face. Don't touch my face. I see you reaching. Don't touch my face. I am beseeching. You can touch me almost any place. Just don't touch my face. You're sweet incendiary, and I tremble when you're near. You never fail to thrill me with your beauty, wit, and cheer. You're moving close, I'm helpless now. My blood, my passion raced. Just don't touch my face. No, 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 no. Don't touch my face. Oh, darling, please don't touch my face. Don't touch my, no, no, no. Don't touch your, don't touch my face. My face.
Wow. Great, great falsetto there. That's wonderful. Those notes spot on. I just love that. What a skill. Oh my God. By the way, we have some more fan comments here. A fan since July of 1981 when Claudia, Sally Rogers, and Jan Marek rolled into Minneapolis at the Winnipeg Folk Festival with gigs for Wednesday through Sunday, and each invited the others on stage for a set at the Coffee House Extempore. Glad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Wonderful. So now, where was that? I'm just curious.
That was actually Maple Plain outside of Minneapolis,
Uh-huh.
a venue that it runs through the summer months into the fall. And yeah.
That
So
looks
yeah,
like a lot of
place I
fun.
get back to quite a bit to sing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that brought a lot of smiles to our face. We're going to change this theme here a little bit. This next one
Yeah,
is
I like to do that. I like to
Trail of
change it.
Sorrow. So Trail of Sorrow, I guess from a high to a low. So tell us about that.
Ah, it was another song that came kind of well, from the inside out. I didn't have to go looking for it. It was
Hmm.
around a time that two very close friends, one lost his husband of 50 years and the other her
Oh.
brother.
Hmm.
And I was with them. I'd had these conversations with them about their grief. And,
Hmm.
we're not a culture that deals with grief very well,
No.
and death.
Yeah.
And it just, I was, and yet it's eternal, it's always been with us. And yet we still can't quite figure it out. And it was almost like the song started by pulling me back almost to when I had like a visual image in my head of an old churchyard. There's a little kind of hymn that I start out the song with I could almost see like a in Tara, just sort of the brown, sort of old photograph of people standing around the grave singing. I
Hmm.
had that real visual image when I started writing the song. It was almost like I was writing to this photograph in my head.
Yeah. Huh. Okay.
So it
So
felt really old to me.
yeah.
Here's a song for all of us who have beloveds gone on ahead to be with the ancestors. Trail of Sorrow. She found herself on sorrow's trail. No, there's no turning back. Nothing left but to weep and wail. No, there's no turning back. Trail of sorrow, trail of sorrow, trail where light seems so far away. Hearts are tender, so near the veil. No, there's no turning back. Those who were and are no more, no, there's no turning back, have left us seeds to plant and to store. No, there's no turning back. Trail of sorrow, trail of sorrow,
trail where light seems so far away. They leave us stronger than before. No, no, there's no turning back. With sorrow's trail seems to have no end. No, no, there's no turning back. But it's there you'll find your truest friends. No, no, there's no turning back. Trail of sorrow, trail of sorrow, trail where light seems so far away. Love and laughter make sorrow bend. No, no, there's no turning back. So walk that trail as tears do fall. No, no, there's no turning back. Saying goodbye is the work of us all. No, no, there's no turning back. Trail of sorrow, trail of sorrow, trail where light seems so far away. We'll take comfort in love's recall. No, no, there's no turning back. No, no, there's no turning back. No, no, there's no turning back.
Very nice. You know, I actually lost about 9 people in 6 months. This is before COVID. And for me, I had to write something. I don't do as much writing as you, but I do some writing. But I found it very helpful for me. It was just cathartic in terms of dealing with the pain, So I'm sure
Yeah.
maybe you have that
Well,
kind of
the
thing.
the friend who lost her brother, I told her that she was a primary inspiration, and I made her a very rough recording when I first wrote it, and
Yeah.
she listened to it every day. She told me later.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It was like a tonic for her. Yeah.
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 And it didn't make her, she was grieving, but it didn't make her sad or sadder. It was
Right.
just like a friend. Yeah.
Helping her process it. Yeah.
Hmm.
Now the dulcimer is a beautiful instrument. Is it tuned like a guitar at all? Is it similar
Oh
to
no, it's a totally
totally different?
modal. It's only got what's got mine has 4 strings. Some have more.
Mm.
And but it's played as if it's 3 strings because two are in a pair.
Oh,
Um, and I'm in usually a DA tuning or DAD tuning. It's a very modal instrument, like a banjo, and that
yeah.
you play it in tunings. And I have a very traditional one that doesn't even have the extra fret in it. So it's very I love it. I love the contrast of the
Yeah.
austere simplicity of the dulcimer and then the fullness of the 12 string. I just
And
those
did
two
you?
instruments they're very unusual and to
Yeah.
show up together. And yeah, they're good companions for me.
Did you play it as a child, or when did you pick that up?
No, I actually stumbled into a dulcimer
Mm.
years after I played the guitar. I saw one hanging
Ah,
on a music store wall. I didn't even know
yeah.
what it was.
Mm.
And I was attracted to the shape of it. And then it wasn't until a little later I started learning about Gene Ritchie and Richard Mimi Farina. And then the fact that actually Joni Mitchell had been playing dulcimer in a lot of her recordings. I always assumed it was just a guitar and an open tuning,
Oh,
but
wow.
it ended up being a pretty common instrument for her. So,
Ah,
yeah, there was this woman, Jean Ritchie from Kentucky, who kind of single-handedly brought the dulcimer into more popular culture, into the folk world. And
mm.
let's see, I've seen Bruce Hornsby play the dulcimer.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, in fact, what we saw of an old video of the Rolling Stones and Lady Jane, and there someone and who was it that was playing the dulcimer in that? Yeah, there was actually a dulcimer in the
Wow.
video. So,
No kidding.
yeah.
Now, was it an obvious thing to you, even as a young woman, that you were going to dedicate your life to music, or was it a simple decision, or did you struggle with the idea? Because it's a big decision to do music as
Yeah,
a career.
it was just so it unfolded I moved to Chicago for a stupid day job, and it unfolded so sort of organically
Yeah.
over the course of a year that I almost didn't have time to even think about it.
No
Am I
kidding.
going to
That's
do this?
wonderful.
I was suddenly just doing it,
That's great.
and it just rolled along. Here I am,
Yeah. Yeah.
so 52 years later.
And we are so
Um,
lucky. We are so
so
lucky.
yeah, sometimes I kid around and I say I refer to it as my careen instead of my career. So,
By the way, we have somebody here. Wendy said, beautiful music, Claudia. Thanks so much for this. I first saw you in Milwaukee in the late 70s and then in Cambridge, Mass at Passim's. So I guess is it Passim's
mhm.
or yeah,
Yep.
Passim. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's wonderful.
Yeah, I've
Okay.
been around.
Well, and now we have one last pre-recorded piece. This is Lullaby for Grown-ups. Give us a little
Yeah.
background on that one.
That's one of my most recent songs, because it seems like a lot of the conversation among my peers now has to do with either um, having not slept or having slept with the help of, and then the ongoing list of what works for which person. It's become quite a common topic of conversation,
Right, right,
and people giving each other gummies and that kind of
right.
thing. And so one night, this song, the funny thing is, I always say, I stayed awake all night writing it. It's true. But I just decided to it was another thing that I was sort of amusing myself because I couldn't sleep. So I was amusing myself by writing this song.
I love it. I love it.
When you face the night with dread of slaughtered slumber in a battered bed, take this path around your mind, and at its end, sweet rest you'll find. Rest your hands, they shape your day, constant motion through work and play. They hold, they touch, they do their best. So now it's time to let them rest. And rest your feet, they carry you and bear the weight of all you do. Sometimes they swell, sometimes they ache. Those dogs are tired, they need a break. Rest your eyes, those awesome things, from all their curious wanderings. They've seen so much, the room's too bright, so close them now, turn out the light, and rest your heart, that treasure jewel. It gets so heavy when the world is cruel. Remember, kindness makes things right. Inside and out, you'll rest this night. When all the myriad parts of you could use a snooze, invite them to. The time is right, the way is clear, so grant them all some rest, my dear. Ooh, ooh, So when you hit the hay tonight, get your parts arranged just just right. Thank them all with deep delight. Deep breath, smile, and then sleep tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we have a treat. You're going to play something live, I believe, tonight. Are you?
Yeah. I was just going
River
to
of
sing
Tears.
something
Yeah.
a cappella.
Oh, a cappella. Okay, good.
Yeah, because it's actually my favorite thing because
Hmm.
it's the original wind instrument.
Yeah, yes.
Portable, affordable. Um,
Yes. Take it
and and
anywhere.
and I picked a song actually that is one of my oldest songs. I probably wrote it in the late 70s, early 80s, and it's a song that came literally out of a dream. I mean, I woke up and it was just these images
Wow.
that turned into the song. And why I wanted to sing it is because it really it sort of establishes, I guess you might say, a path that I still find myself on all these years later. The purpose of the music and what's really important. It's called River of Tears.
Hmm.
I did come upon a river of tears, the grief of my sisters and brothers. It had grown so deep, I could not cross over to continue on my journey. It was wild and black, and it threw out a spray that stained my garments blood red. I was filled with fear. I was filled with pain, and I thought I would never cross over. I did build a raft from the bones of my mother who had drowned in that river of sorrow. I did bind those bones, all one to another, with the ropes of the captives now free. I did steer that raft with a long straight pole from a tree that my father had planted. And I set off into that treacherous flow with a trembling hope in my heart. And as I crossed that angry stream, I looked in the water all swirling, and it showed me the faces of the ones I had killed by refusing to fight for their freedom. And it showed me the faces of the ones who had died while trying to end the struggles. And their voices cried out, "Get to the shore and continue the work we've begun." And the water it dragged, and the water it pulled, and the pain it threatened to drown me. But I held my course and bore down on the pole from the tree that my father had planted. And I fell exhausted onto the shore as the raft splintered all into pieces. Then a smile came to my weary face, for I heard those voices singing songs like tears, songs like rivers. I have carried them all on my journey. And it's these I'll sing until that river runs as dry as the bones of my mother. And it's these I'll sing until that river's but a valley where sorrow once raged.
Wow. I have goosebumps just from listening to you. That's amazing. Someone just wrote to Steve Pattison. He said, "Who are in grief reminded me that she once recited a most beautiful poem at the Iron Horse in Northampton, Mass. in 74 or 75 about flowers growing on the grave and bringing the memory of lost ones' dancing feet. It wasn't her poem, but I have never lost the sense of it. I don't know the author, but I'd love to find it again. Do you know Can you tell Steve what that
Yes,
was?
it was a
Or
song
yeah.
written by Tom Bishop, who was a Chicago singer-songwriter, and it
Ah.
was based. The chorus was based on an actual epitaph that he saw on a gravestone in Illinois, in
Mm,
Petersburg, Illinois.
yeah. We went way over the hour, but this is just
Oh
wonderful.
no!
It was worth every minute. It was worth every minute. Well, thank you so much. And I'm very privileged to have Claudia share this night with us. So thank you so much, Claudia.
I'm so thrilled you just dropped into the Vanilla Bean last fall, or this never would have happened.
It was
Serendipity.
it was my pleasure. It really truly was. I have to see you again sometime very soon.
Thank
Thank you
you.
all. Thank you,
All right.
Claudia. Love your music. Love what you do. Thank you,
I
everyone.
as
Have a
well.
great
Thank you.
night.
Love
All
you.
right. You too. Bye bye.